The women of Warai Warai have muscles like steel, and we can fight any battle.
Crocodiles have been following me. Okay, I don't mean like literally. They're not just like following me into the bathroom at night or popping out during a work presentation or coming on dates with me at the cafe. No, I mean the symbol of the crocodile has been following me my entire life. 1988, my grandma's crocodile purse. She had this purse made out entirely of a baby crocodile. The head, the feet, the tail, all of it. When I first discovered it at 8 years old, I was shocked and disgusted and yet amazed at the same time, because who would have something like this? What person would do this to an animal? But looking back at it now, the 1950s was a different time. I hated it. I hid it from her for the longest time. She couldn't find it. And then I found it 30 years later amongst all her things in my storage unit after she passed away. It was labeled in a box called Grandma's Treasures. Crocodiles have survived and thrived for over 50 million years. They adapt to their environment and form a solid connection with nature. By utilizing their ability to camouflage themselves, they achieve major success. They are brave, patient, spiritual. One of my earliest memories of survival comes from my grandma Inkar. She's from Eastern Samar, and we actually got to visit there last September. During the festivities, one of her friends cornered me and said, "We are Warai warriors. Warai women never back down from a fight, and we are strong-willed and fiery. You better warn your husband, don't mess with you." My grandma was the same way, fiery and strong-willed, but she had to be. She survived the Japanese occupation in the Philippines. And one of the most important lessons she taught me through war was put your trust into God. When humanity is failing you, when fear seems endless, and especially when the unknown is just too big to comprehend, trust God. My grandma and her family had to flee their home and all of their belongings with just the clothes on their back to evade the Japanese soldiers. They left everything and ran. They found an abandoned building in the jungle, planted weeds around the building to camouflage it and make it appear as if no one lived there, and lived off of sweet potatoes for months. They prayed for protection against death, against illness, against torture, against rape. Her and her sisters were teenagers, and against all the devastating trauma of war. They put their faith into God, and finally, they were saved.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you,
Happy birthday.
dear Max
Happy
Jr.
birthday to you.
And many more.
Many more birthdays.
Woo!
That's why we're not singers. Me and you.
2008. My father rarely gave me gifts. In his words, "I don't believe in all that capitalist bullshit, man." But during my years as a stand-up comic, he actually gifted me an extra large white t-shirt he had created in his silk screen class. On it was a crocodile doing stand-up next to a microphone stand. I kept it, even if it was 3 times my size and kind of ugly. This was actually the last gift he gave me, because 3 years later, he passed away. Take the crocodile as a sign to look for an opportunity to absorb new knowledge and wisdom. When in need, they can guide us toward making the best decisions in our own lives. They are speedy, fearless, emotional. My father's lessons of survival? He was proud of me for opening for Dave Chappelle and Joe Coy, but he was always pushing me to write, because to him, that was survival. Creating, writing, doing art. He wanted me to be a voice of my generation, and in his words, continue to write, do your art, man, and never stop, because when you stop, you die. Those who can identify with the crocodile symbolism tend to have a gift for surviving in a harmonious and prosperous way. They are fierce, cunning, agile. 2020, the year of the coronavirus pandemic. This year, with all the time I had, I began researching a new writing project. In my research, I came across an essay written by Lenny Mendoza-Strobel, where the following is mentioned. During the Hispanic colonial period, the Babaylan women in particular were murdered, as if to make sure their bodies never returned, their bodies were chopped up and fed to the crocodiles. That story captured a broad truth. That Spanish colonial violence did consume Filipino indigenous culture. And while I continue to research this part of the Filipino history, I'm beginning to uncover and bring to light my own indigenous spiritual roots. As I unlock the meaning and medicine of these crocodile symbols, they serve to remind me that during this time of pandemic, of survival, Pinays cannot always be gentle and placid like our Asian stereotypes lend us to be, but rather, this crocodile symbol reminds us to embrace our courage, our strength, our ability, our agility, our patience, our connection to spirit, and our fierce primal power. Just like the crocodile, Filipinos have a gift for surviving in a harmonious and prosperous way. It is in our blood, it is in our DNA, it is in our spirit, and we are remembering.